Good afternoon, drivers. Nick and I made our way to the truck to give you some updates this aft. And when we were getting ready, we did not bring the keys. I did not bring the keys to the club. So that's why the club, not that I'm going anywhere with this thing anyway, but however. So just to give you an update on the sale of the truck, I've had offers pouring in left, right, and center, as you well could imagine. And so that's going well. Hopefully within a couple of days I'll have another update for you to keep you posted what's going on in that department. Just a note back to, I keep referring back to this trailer video that we did. Just so you know, the things that I was showing you in the video, like the CB radios, the chain drive wallets, etc. I'm getting email and messages, people making me offers and wanting to buy those things. They're not for sale. None of that stuff is stuff that I'm parting with. They were just things that I was pointing out and showing you just how Dave arranged the trailer in his workshop and maybe just some things of interest. So actually what Nick and I have decided to do with some of these neat things that belong to Dave is, you'll see in some of our upcoming videos, we're going to make a nice little backdrop. And you'll see the chain drive wallets, the CB radios, and some other things in the background. So that's actually what we're going to do with some of those things. In some of the emails and the comments that I've been getting from Facebook and YouTube and from our newsletters, a lot of folks are wondering if I can drive the truck. So I'm going to address that this afternoon. So yeah, a bit of a complicated, complex question, but I'm going to give you a straight up answer here. Yes, I can. I don't have a license. So let me tell you about my adventures driving the truck. First time I drove it was on the 401 highway in Toronto. We were westbound on the 401 and it was at night. It was a Friday night and Dave was doing a run. I don't think we were headed for California. It was a shorter trip, probably somewhere into Michigan somewhere. He did a lot of those back in the day. And I had been bugging him. I was on the CB. I used to play with the CB a lot back then. Not play, but, he'd let me, he'd tell me what to say and so on. And sometimes if he was traveling with other drivers, I would communicate with them, and especially if it was the Lettuce King. So I had kind of been hinting around that I wanted to drive, and I'd driven it in the yard and various times. So, and this was like a Friday night, but it was pretty quiet. It was probably after 10 o'clock at night, but oddly enough on the 401, which is a major highway through Ontario. And I said, okay. And I said, well, how do we do this? You're going to pull over at the next rest station. And he said, no, over here right now. So I climbed my way into the driver's seat. He stayed in the driver's seat. And I sat here between his knees and got the wheel, got the feel of it. And for maybe, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes. And then he started to crawl out into the passenger seat. And I thought, oh God. So anyway, he did. And I was doing fine. I was holding my own. And, I was actually on my own. I was driving this thing on my own, like freewheeling on my own. And I will tell you, that was one of the biggest thrills of my life, driving that thing. I can see why you guys got your license, because like the power of this thing, and you know, the noise of the engine, and you know, we had some great music and so on going on. Like, wow. You know, I can really see why. Just thrilling, right? It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So that was pretty cool. Now, mind you, for me to be on my own like that, no. I only had the confidence to do that because Dave was in the driver's seat, and you know, he got me going. I knew how to drive because he taught me around the back roads and so on. And I've also driven around the area too. But that was a while ago, so hopefully I won't go to jail for that. But anyway, so those of you who asked, there's my answer. One thing I didn't like, and I think I mentioned this when I did the truck video, is the fact that the starter is on the left. Now, some people said I said it was because Dave was a southpaw and he could have ordered the truck like that. But you guys corrected me, some of you did, and said, no, that was a Peterbilt thing. So you could walk up to the truck and start it. And yeah, and I'd seen him do that many times, but I did not know that was unique to the Peterbilts. But that drove me nuts because I don't have the strength in my left hand to start it. So I found by the time, you know, I'm standing on the pedals to get the darn thing started. So that bugged me, and I didn't like the fact that the clutch, I believe, he said that, and I had a hard time, it's either the clutch or the brake, I don't know, was set up high. Does that make sense? That the spring was really tight. So I found like I just had to pretty much like stand up and just hammer the thing to change gears. But, you know, he said, you know, if you're going to be driving it more, he said like he would loosen it up or lower it or some darn thing. And so he did a little bit, but it still wasn't, you know, but the truck wasn't for me to drive. I mean, it was him that did the majority, of course, of the driving. But yeah, I enjoyed driving it. But I'll tell you one thing, what I did learn from the bits that I did drive is, you know, because he really wanted me to get my license. Ever since he first knew me, he was bugging me to get my license. But I always knew, and then especially after I got behind the wheel, of what a massive responsibility it would be to drive one of these things. And it was just like, to do that for a living, I thought, oh my gosh, I just didn't think I was the right personality for it. So, but a high regard for people that do, because it is a massive, huge responsibility. So now that I've told my true story of learning to drive and my driving escapades, if you have any stories to share from maybe early days when you first started driving, maybe with a father or grandfather or an uncle or a trainer, or something that's a little bit on the unorthodox side, we'd love to hear that. I will put a link in the comment below, in the description box below, and you can send the story off to us. And you can actually send it in the form of a video clip if you like. But just type the story out and send it along. We'd love to read those too. Basically what Nick and I are doing for the next little bit while we still have the truck is we're trying to squeeze in some little mini videos that we'd like to record from the truck, just about random thoughts about selling the truck, the future of the channel, etc., before we get actually back into our trucking videos. So what I'm going to read right now, at the end of each one of these is one of the comments, one of the emails that I've received from viewers and from subs. So I will read this one that I really liked. Hey, Catherine and Nick. This was in response to our last newsletter, which had the truck video as part of the newsletter that we just did a week ago. I'm absolutely shocked and enraged that someone would call you a gold digger. Yes, because somebody called me a gold digger. Anyway, unbelievable. Obviously, these people have no grasp of the horrible situation you're in. There's no doubt whatsoever in my mind what an emotional roller coaster selling Dave's truck must be. And yes, it certainly has been up and down for sure. The emotion and difficulty clearly comes through in the video. Apparently these people must think you're made of money to be able to run the truck, maintain it, and pay for storage. And you know what? I wouldn't even mind doing that if I could legally go out and drive it, but I can't. It will just sit, right? You and Nick have to do what's right for yourselves, not what other people think is right, because we're there for you. I've never ever forgotten your kind words and support during my separation divorce, which is still ongoing. Chin up, you two. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Whew. When I read these out loud, they're harder to read. You taught me that. Anyway, we're not trying to, garner any extra support or anything. We just want to say that we really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to send us these messages. I try to respond, and so does Nick, as many of these as we possibly can. And eventually we're hoping we will keep caught up. But this one really stood out in my mind. This was someone I had communicated with from our newsletter. So I just want to, in conclusion, say that the email and the notes and the comments that you guys are making is very uplifting and encouraging. And I'm not sure that I ever knew, or Dave knew, how much you guys appreciated all the videos, and I'm very touched by all your kind comments. And I thank you. It's really helped get us through this. It really has, and I'm not just blowing smoke here. It's true. In a couple videos of Dave's that Dave and I put together, and Dave did the delivery, we talked about, or Dave talked about rather, how drivers were, very separate and went their own way for the most part. But we really have felt like basically everybody has given the same message to Nick and I, all in, each person, of course, in their own way and their own words. And you know what? You guys are made of good stuff. You really are. And we thank you. It's really been heartwarming, and it's kind of it's, I guess, how you make lemonade out of lemons. But Nick and I just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because it's just been amazing support. Thank you. Well, I didn't want to end this video on a low note, so I'm not going to. Stay safe, keep the rubber side down, chin up, be proud. You're a truck driver, and you should be proud of it. And I'll see you on the back haul.